The day before the wedding, my fiancée actually put on her wedding dress and went to her ex-boyfriend's house to spend the night and bid farewell. I decisively canceled the wedding and boarded the plane to study abroad. On the plane, my fiancée, who had always loathed me, called me. "Why did you cancel the wedding? You made me lose face in front of our relatives and friends. I was just saying goodbye to my youth. Are you really being so petty? I know you're just kidding me, right? Don't be like this. Come back quickly." I hung up the phone and directly snapped the SIM card. Now she knows she regrets it. What was she doing earlier? The day after I got the quota to be recommended for admission to an Ivy League university, my fiancée Ava shouted on the playground, "James, as long as you give up the opportunity to study abroad to William and give him an additional living, the expense of 500,000 yuan, I will marry you and get the marriage certificate 3 days later. This is my only condition." Ava's tone was confident, and she didn't feel the slightest bit embarrassed. It was as if it were the most normal thing in the world to ask her fiancé to pay for her ex-boyfriend's education. Looking at this woman whom I had once loved deeply, an impulse to die together with her welled up in my heart. In my previous life, in order to let her ex-boyfriend get the opportunity to study abroad, Ava used the promise of marrying me in exchange for the study abroad quota from me. But the day before the wedding, she secretly went to her ex-boyfriend William's house, wearing a wedding dress, and spent the night there. What's more, after we got married, she colluded with William and poisoned my food every day, causing me to be chronically poisoned. But it seemed that God took pity on me and let me return to the day when we were talking about getting married. Right in front of me, she casually stated a series of extremely excessive marriage conditions. My wedding house must be an 8-bedroom, 5-bathroom house in the city center. I yearn for freedom, and I don't plan to have children before I'm 40. I won't live with my parents-in-law after marriage. There should be 6 nannies in the house to take care of my daily life. Also, in order to maintain my figure, we can't have sexual relations within 3 years. Did you hear what I said? Clearly, seeing that I was just staring blankly and not answering, Ava frowned in dissatisfaction. I looked coldly at this woman who had caused my tragic death in my previous life, and smiled. "No problem. I believe you can definitely find such a man before. You're 80 years old. What did you say?" Ever since we got together, I had always been obedient to her. So, my answer now completely exceeded her expectations. "How dare you talk to me in this tone? Do you want to break up?" Just like in my previous life, whenever I showed dissatisfaction, she would threaten me with breaking up. Every time this happened, I would lower my head and meekly beg for her forgiveness, empty my savings to buy her all kinds of gifts, and plead for her to forgive me. But this time, she miscalculated. It's okay to break up. My attitude was as cold as ever. In a fit of anger, just as she was about to scold me, she suddenly seemed to think of something. Then she sneered. "You deliberately made me angry and provoked me just to make me pay more attention to you, right? I'm warning you. No matter where you learn these tricks from, they are not only useless to me, but will also make me dislike you. Even more, if you want to marry me, you have to agree to my 3 conditions. Otherwise, don't even think about marrying me if you miss even one of them." After saying that, she got up and left. She left me alone on the playground. Looking at her arrogant and narcissistic appearance, I couldn't help but ask myself why I had been so blind in my previous life. After breaking up with me, she couldn't wait to throw herself into a man's arms and appeared at Jay Chou's concert with William. In my previous life, it was the same. She said she liked Jay Chou, and I spent all my scholarship money to buy her the opportunity to interact with Jay Chou at the concert. She actually appeared on Jay Chou's stage with her ex-boyfriend, and I was blocked outside by the security guards. That day, the video of their intimate interaction at the concert went viral across the entire internet. I became the most famous clown in the whole school. Only after I died did I realize that this so-called love had always been a scam jointly planned by them from beginning to end. Honey, I've already convinced James to give up the study abroad quota to you. Besides, I also got a living expense of 500,000 yuan for you. He's such a silly boy. At the concert venue, Ava smiled triumphantly. But is so much money too much? What if he can't afford it? What if he gives up? William was a bit worried. Ava gave a cold laugh. Don't worry. He's such a sycophant, and I have him completely under my control. Even if he can't afford it, he'll find a way to borrow the money. In her heart, I was just a sycophant that she had completely under her thumb. In my previous life, ever since I got together with Ava, every month she would ask me for a relationship fund in the name of saving money for our future marriage because I didn't want to use my family's money. At most, I took on 10 part-time jobs in a day, and my body was on the verge of breaking down. But in the end, that money was all squandered by them. And now, they naively thought that I would still give them money. After parting ways with Ava, I went straight back to school and found the professor in charge of studying abroad. "Professor, I've thought it through. I want to study abroad." Hearing my answer, the professor was both surprised and delighted. "Have you really thought it through? Does Ava agree?" The whole school knew that I was a sycophant who would do anything, Ava asked. Everyone felt sorry for me. I was clearly a top student, but I was so infatuated with love. It doesn't matter whether she agrees or not. It's my own business, and I can make my own decisions. The professor nodded and said with emotion, "It's good that you've thought it through. There's only one quota for our school to send students to study at an Ivy League university this time, and all the teachers and students in the school recommended you. We really thought that you would voluntarily give up this opportunity to William for the sake of marrying Ava. Give it to him. Does he even deserve it? This time around, I'm going to take back everything that belongs to me." After watching the professor personally submit my application information to the email of the Ivy League University, I heaved a sigh of relief in my heart. The date of going abroad happened to be the same day as the originally scheduled wedding date. In addition, I gave the professor a letter reporting William for plagiarizing my academic papers. The professor looked at the content of the letter in surprise. It turned out that every single one of William's papers was written by me. In fact, it wasn't just William who plagiarized my papers, but also Ava, spending my money and snatching. My study abroad quota was bad enough, but they also blatantly plagiarized my papers and packaged themselves as academic geniuses. Ava, didn't you say you were willing to give everything for true love? In this life, you don't have to give anything. I'll give your true love back to you. After registering for the study abroad application, I called my dad. Dad, we don't need to sell the house to scrape together the betrothal gift. I'm not getting married anymore. Did you break up? That's great. Dad has been waiting for this day for a long time, listening to the old and familiar voice on the phone. A trace of sourness flashed in my nose. In my previous life, I was so infatuated with Ava that I wouldn't listen to anyone's advice. Since my parents couldn't persuade me, they had to agree to this marriage. They even went to great lengths and did everything they could to meet all of Ava's conditions. After we got married, we had a lovely son. I thought I had gained a happy and harmonious family. But unexpectedly, not long after the child was born, I was diagnosed with advanced gastric cancer. It was only when I was on my deathbed and saw Ava and William hugging each other that I realized it turned out that they had been having an affair behind my back all along, and even the child wasn't mine. In the end, the family property that my parents had worked so hard to build fell into the hands of these two despicable people. From beginning to end, I was just a fool, being played by them. Yes, we broke up. I've already applied to study abroad. My dad readily agreed. Like the professor, he was also happy for me. Sure enough, in this relationship, apart from myself, no one was optimistic about this marriage. After hanging up the phone, breathing in the free air, a sense of relief washed over me. At the same time, I canceled the supplementary card that Ava was holding. If I'm going to break up, I'm going to do it completely. I won't allow these two despicable people to continue spending my money recklessly. I turned and went to a law firm. Just as I was discussing with the lawyer how to get back the relationship fund, Ava called me. The two of them, who were going on a crazy shopping spree in the mall, found that their credit card payment failed when they were checking out and that the card had actually been frozen. They couldn't pay for the goods worth tens of thousands of yuan, which made her feel very humiliated. You've got some nerve taking so long to answer my call. I'm asking you, why can't I use the credit card anymore? Transfer 10,000 yuan to me immediately to pay the bill. Otherwise, I'll cancel the wedding. She spent the money I earned through hard work and spoke to me in such a commanding tone. She'll really think of me as a dog. Every time she was like this, threatening me to compromise by breaking up or canceling the wedding. If it were me in my previous life, I would definitely have eagerly offered her my bank card with both hands and let her use it as she pleased. Then I would say all kinds of flattering words, begging for her forgiveness. But not this time. I coldly threw out the words, "Take it or leave it," and then hung up the phone. Ava seemed to have gone crazy and kept calling nonstop. I simply put her on the blacklist. Well, the world was finally quiet. Tomorrow was the day I would go abroad. While I was packing my luggage at home, Ava, full of anger, came with William. Looking at her accusing face, I ignored her and continued packing my clothes. My indifferent attitude made her feel very uncomfortable. As her sycophant, I had never shown her a cold face before, but this time, a sense of loss of control suddenly welled up in her heart. It was as if something was slipping out of her grasp. "James, why did you cancel Ava's card? Don't you know how sad Ava was when she couldn't pay? I know you've always minded my relationship with Ava, but we've already broken up. We're just friends now. Why are you being so petty? Aren't you afraid of breaking Ava's heart?" Hearing her keep saying Ava made my ears itch. If she wanted to buy things, sure. I had no objection and I didn't care at all. But she had to spend her own money. Spending my money? No way. Hearing my words, Ava's face immediately turned dark. "James, aren't you going too far? How long are you going to play this game of playing hard to get? Your despicable tricks will only make me dislike you even more." After saying that, she took off the ring on her hand and made a gesture as if she was going to throw it away. "William, quickly stopped her and whispered to her that this opportunity to study at an Ivy League university was very important to him. Moreover, both of their living expenses depended on my support. If they broke off the relationship with me, what would they use to maintain their luxurious life? For the sake of money, Ava reluctantly put the ring back on her finger. Tomorrow is our wedding. I order you to prepare all the betrothal gifts by tonight. I'm going to wear my wedding dress and accompany William tonight. I want to say a proper goodbye to my youth. In my previous life, after hearing her say these words, I begged her not to leave, and I even knelt on the ground. She insisted on leaving while wearing the wedding dress, looking at me impatiently with cold eyes, and saying, "I've told you so many times. I'm just saying goodbye to my youth. Can't you stop being so petty? Why are you always being so fussy about William?" After saying that, she turned around and left, leaving me alone in the empty house. In this life, I readily agreed. Sure, no problem. Go if you want. On the wedding day, I'll give you a surprise. When she heard there was a surprise, her expression relaxed a lot. She had an expression as if she had seen through that I was indeed playing hard to get. After giving me a cold look, Ava took William's hand and left, and I had a good night's sleep. As soon as it was dawn, I pulled my suitcase and headed to the airport. Sitting in the first-class business seat, enjoying the coffee that the flight attendant made for me, I looked at the time. If there were no accidents, it should be the time when she arrived at the wedding venue in her wedding dress. My surprise was probably about to arrive. Ava was woken up by the urgent ringing of the phone in the morning. Thinking it was me calling, she hung up several calls while still half asleep, but the phone kept ringing. The moment she saw the caller ID, she woke up instantly. It was a call from her mother. "Ava, isn't today your wedding day? Why did the hotel staff say the wedding has been canceled? Your father and I, along with all our relatives, are waiting at the entrance. What on earth happened?" Upon hearing this, Ava woke up immediately. What? The wedding was canceled. After hanging up the phone, Ava quickly climbed out of William's bed, put on her wedding dress, and took a taxi to the hotel. There were countless love bites on her face and neck, which showed how intense last night's battle had been. Holding up the hem of her wedding dress, she quickly asked the hotel receptionist. The receptionist's answer was straightforward. The groom had canceled the wedding order, and the wedding ceremony that was supposed to be held today has been canceled. By the way, please pay for the wedding venue fee. Not getting married, and still having to pay for the venue. Hearing this, Ava was so angry and annoyed that she almost fainted. Just then, William also rushed over in a hurry. "Ava, the professor just called me and said that my application to study abroad has been canceled. Also, he said that we plagiarized James' papers and he's going to expel us. Didn't you say you had already taken care of James? What on earth is going on?" William's voice was almost on the verge of crying. Just as she was about to speak, a flash of camera lights went off. The lawyer who had taken her photos came up to her. "Hello, Miss Ava. I'm the lawyer entrusted by Mr. James. Mr. James believes that you were unfaithful during the relationship, so he canceled the wedding and asks you to return all the relationship funds. Moreover, we have already obtained evidence of your infidelity. If you refuse, we will take legal action." The lawyer handed her a thick stack of hotel check-in records and consumption statements. There were also many photos of her and William hugging as they entered the hotel room. The wedding was canceled. The study abroad application was canceled. They were going to be expelled from school, and she had to return the relationship funds. Ava's face turned pale, and a dizzying feeling suddenly came over her. She trembled as she took out her phone and dialed my number. "James, why did you cancel the wedding? You made me lose face in front of our relatives and friends. I was just saying goodbye to my youth. Are you really being so petty? I know you're just kidding me, right? Don't be like this. Come back quickly." After coldly replying with the word boring, I hung up the phone. I took out the SIM card, snapped it in half, and threw it into the trash can. My life, having lived 2 lifetimes, would, starting from today, welcome a brand new day. "Hey James, aren't you getting married today? Why are you on this flight, too?" Just then, a familiar voice came from beside me. I turned my head and saw that it was none other than Olivia, my childhood sweetheart, who had grown up with me. At this moment, her expression was filled with both surprise and amazement. I smiled slightly and told her that I had already broken up. "What? You broke up? Such a big thing. How come I didn't know? I just broke up today." Since I had nothing better to do, I told her the story of how Ava had always been involved with her ex-boyfriend, and they had conspired to cheat me out of my money. After listening, she patted my shoulder sympathetically and comforted me. "It's okay. Seeing this woman's true colors earlier is also good for you. I'm really happy for you." There was joy and happiness in Olivia's smile. She was genuinely happy for me. Looking at this girl who had grown up with me since childhood, my memories were drawn back to the past. We were childhood sweethearts, playing together and going to school together since we were kids. We were almost recognized as a perfect match in our circle. Even our parents thought that we would definitely end up together. But fate played a cruel trick. The unexpected appearance of Ava interrupted this relationship that should have developed naturally. I became infatuated with love, focusing all my attention on Ava, who I thought had saved my life. On my wedding day, Olivia boarded the plane to go abroad. From then on, she never came back to the country. It was only later that I learned that, in her heart, she had always loved me and had a crush on me. It was just that I, who was blindly obsessed, had let down this relationship. If I hadn't fallen in love with Ava and had instead been with her, as it should have been, perhaps my life would not be what it was now. While I was soaring in the sky, Ava and William were going through the most painful and darkest moment of their lives. The sudden cancellation of the wedding left all her relatives and friends standing there like fools, and the lawyer's act of pursuing her for infidelity during the relationship and retrieving the marriage fund right in front of her exposed her unfaithful side in the relationship to the fullest extent. Instantly, she became the laughingstock among her relatives, and various kinds of gossip and pointing fingers came one after another. I really didn't expect that the daughter of Ava's family would act so recklessly. She managed to get together with a rich second-generation guy but still dared to rekindle her old relationship with her ex-boyfriend. Exactly. I suspect that there must be something wrong with Ava's ancestral grave to have produced such a rotten apple. It's a pity for Ava's father. He was on the verge of becoming the father-in-law of a rich second generation, but because of what his daughter did, not only did his dream shatter, but it also damaged his family's reputation. It's really a misfortune for the family. Hearing the relatives' comments, Ava's father couldn't hold it in anymore. He slapped Ava hard in the face and roared at her. "What have you done? How could things have turned out like this today?" Ava, who had been slapped, covered her face with a blank look in her eyes. She still hadn't recovered from the shock. She kept muttering the same sentence. "I don't know. I don't know anything." William quickly stepped forward to protect Ava. "Uncle, this isn't Ava's fault. If anyone is to blame, it's that James. He's relying on his wealth to play with Ava's feelings and is smearing us, ruining our reputation. Uncle, you mustn't fall for his evil scheme." William tried to shift the blame, but the lawyer I hired wasn't having any of it and immediately warned, "Mr. William, you have to take legal responsibility for what you say. My client has already gathered all the evidence of your collusion since the start of the relationship, including hotel check-in records and intimate photos. If you dare to talk nonsense regardless of the facts, I can file a lawsuit against you in court on the charge of slander." Upon hearing this, William, feeling guilty, shut his mouth. "I want to see James. I won't say anything if he's not here. I must see him. Tell him to come out." Ava was determined to meet me. The lawyer coldly refused her request. "My principal has entrusted me with all the powers regarding the recovery case. Now there are only two paths in front of you. Either return the money or go to jail. You have no other choice." Seeing the lawyer's persistent attitude, Ava gritted her teeth in hatred. "What does this have to do with you? Why are you so eager? How much benefit did he give you?" Ava guessed right this time. "I did give the lawyer a lot of benefits. I told the lawyer that I had already organized all the evidence for him, and half of the money recovered would be the attorney's fees I paid. You know, over the 3 years of our relationship, the pocket money I transferred to Ava every month accumulated to a huge sum of money. Of course, the lawyer would do his best to claim this money. I didn't care. As long as it made Ava and William suffer, I was very happy. Going to jail and repaying the money were both unbearable prices for Ava. If she didn't return the money, she would have to go to jail. She was only 23 years old. If she went to jail and got a criminal record, her whole life would be ruined. Not wanting to go to jail, she grabbed William's arm. "The relationship fund that James transferred to me, I put it all with you. Hurry up and give the money back to me or I'll go to jail." William's face immediately turned as dark as iron. After getting this money, he had long since used it as capital for his indulgence. He had been living a life of debauchery, spending money on dating and other pleasures, and the money was already all gone. How could he possibly take it out? "Ava, have you forgotten that all this money has already been spent, and it was spent on you?" Upon hearing this, Ava's face turned green and she started cursing at him. "What are you talking nonsense about? When did I ever spend your money? Every penny I spent was James's. I think you just want to embezzle this money and let me go to jail. You don't love me at all. I'll give you two choices. Either return the money or go to jail with me. Now." The two of them had reached a point where they couldn't stand each other and were willing to go to extremes. Ava couldn't accept the fact that she would go to jail while the man she loved spent the money she cheated on him with outside and debauchery. She would rather drag him down with her. "The trouble you caused has nothing to do with me." By now, William no longer wanted to pretend to be kind. Since the mask had been torn off, he decided to go all out. He coldly told Ava, "Don't forget that every penny you transferred to me had a note indicating that it was a voluntary gift. So, this has nothing to do with me. If anyone goes to jail, it will only be you. It has nothing to do with me at all." These words were like a heavy hammer striking Ava's heart. Ava's face instantly turned pale. She never expected that the one who would stab her in the back would be her most beloved ex-boyfriend. When I settled down in a foreign country, I received the latest news from the lawyer. In order to raise enough money, Ava's family had started selling their house and land. Although they hated their daughter for being so disappointing, they still had to clean up her mess. After selling the house and then the car, they managed to raise a portion of the money. The lawyer gave her some more time, but he wouldn't let her off easily. After all, as long as the money was recovered, it would become the law firm's attorney's fees. How could he not do his best? In order to get all the money back, he even gave Ava an idea to collect evidence and get back the money she spent on William. When I saw what the lawyer did, I couldn't help laughing. He was really a genius coming up with the idea of profiting from both sides. However, it had nothing to do with me now. I just wanted to enjoy my study abroad time and cultivate my relationship with Olivia more. I hope to make up for the 3 years I lost as soon as possible. Ava never gave up the idea of finding me. She was like a crazy person trying to find my whereabouts and contact information through the friends we knew. But without exception, she was turned away every time. This made her feel very miserable. Before, these people were not like this. They used to surround her like she was a princess, treating her like the center of attention. But now, why were they being so cold? Have you ever heard the story of a fox borrowing the tiger's power? She was just an ordinary woman, from an ordinary family. Except for her beauty, she had no reason to be proud. The reason why her classmates were willing to surround her and dote on her was entirely because of me. Without me, she was nothing. This was a truth that everyone could understand. But she alone couldn't see it, and had never even thought about it. Since she couldn't find me and couldn't get my forgiveness, she could only vent her pent-up anger on William with the help of the lawyer. After investigating his consumption records over the past 3 years, she finally realized that William had been lying to her all along. He tricked her into getting money from James and then spent all that money in nightclubs and on his secret girlfriends. The only money he spent on her was the money he used to pay for her purchase that day. Unable to tolerate that her sincere feelings were wrongly placed, Ava found William in a bar, where he was hugging several girls and drinking. When William saw her, full of anger, he was stunned. He didn't expect her to show up there. "Give me back the money. Give all my money back to me." Ava stared at him fiercely, like a wild beast eyeing its prey. William looked indifferent. "Didn't I tell you? The money you transferred to me was a voluntary gift. You can't get back a voluntary gift. Don't you even know this basic legal knowledge?" After saying that, William tried to shoo her away like he was getting rid of a fly. But Ava rushed towards him angrily. She stabbed him in the kidney with a knife. William fell to the ground in pain, and the bar was filled with screams one after another. Afterwards, Ava was taken to prison and eventually couldn't escape the punishment of imprisonment. William's fate was also very tragic. The knife wound from Ava was very tricky, directly damaging one of his kidneys. For the rest of his life, he would have to live with only one kidney. You can imagine his physical condition. In prison, Ava applied to the prison guards every day, hoping to see me. She also wrote me letters every day in prison. Every time the letters reached me, I would throw them into the fire and burn them without even looking at the contents. All that she has gone through is the price she paid for betraying me. "James, look, how do I look in this wedding dress for our wedding?" Olivia's call brought me back to my senses. I looked over and saw Olivia wearing a beautiful wedding dress, shining as brightly as a fairy descending to the mortal world. "Beautiful, so beautiful, there won't be another girl in this world more beautiful than you," I exclaimed sincerely. "Poof, you're just talking nonsense. If I'm the most beautiful girl in the world, why didn't you choose me in the first place?" I felt a bit embarrassed and rubbed my nose. There was happiness and the satisfaction of having her wish fulfilled. In her smile, the dream she had when she first fell in love was to wear the most beautiful wedding dress and marry the boy she had a crush on since they were children. Now she has realized her dream. I have found myself again, and Ava and William have also paid the price they deserved. For the rest of my life, there will only be warm sunshine.